The U.S. has issued an order for all non-emergency personnel to leave Venezuela, and for those who are remaining, they should shelter in place, having provision. Now, I don't know what you read from that, but what I read from that is there's more than likely a plan already put into motion involving military forces. That's all I can assume, because we saw the protests, and there is no cataclysm going on in Venezuela. They were one day, there were some arrests, there was some violence, but for the most part, given the amount of people that participated, not really that bad. But random guy named Juan has made a critical error, and I would like to illuminate that for you today. He's standing here with his hand over his heart and holding up a copy of the 1999 Bolivarian Republic Constitution promulgated and created by Hugo Chavez himself. Now, in today's video, what I would like to do is go over some points in that Constitution that will put to bed some of the bullshit being put out by the United States. Three big points being the expropriation of assets, the role of family in Venezuela, and also this idea of the National Constituent Assembly versus the National Assembly. You see, the U.S. reads part of the Constitution and says that, oh, well, the National Assembly can declare itself to be in charge if there's a quote-unquote usurper as president. But it doesn't read down to the end of the Constitution where it talks about the provision for the National Constituent Assembly. The best analogy that I can give to the American people is this. On your computer, you have something called a partitioned hard drive, meaning that if you do something to screw up your computer, you can always go back and reset it, and it saves an image of what it should be. That's what the National Constituent Assembly provision does. If the country ever finds itself at the mercy of wealthy, corrupt, powerful politicians, and Chavez foresaw this, perhaps because he knew that the U.S. had designs on taking over Venezuela, he put in a provision that said if this were the case, a National Constituent Assembly could be created. The National Assembly would be now defunct, meaning that once people realized that their government no longer worked for them, they had the ability to overthrow it constitutionally and create another one. This is the part of this Constitution the U.S. does not want you to read. It's down in section 344. And we'll go to that real quick. I'm going to scroll down there, and I'll link this so you can read it for yourself. Let me see if I can find it here. Article 347. Chapter 3, National Constituent Assembly. The original constituent power rests with the people of Venezuela. That's the core belief here. This power may be exercised by calling a National Constituent Assembly for the purpose of transforming the state, creating a new judicial order, and drawing up a new constitution. The initiative for calling a National Constituent Assembly may emanate from the President of the Republic, sitting with the Cabinet of Ministers from the National Assembly by a two-thirds vote of its members from the municipal councils, in open session by a two-thirds vote of their members and from 15% of the voters registered with the Civil and Electoral Registry. And this happened. No one is debating the legality of the National Constituent Assembly. What the National Assembly doesn't like is what they did once they came into power. They realized how horribly corrupt and how horribly compromised the National Assembly was by U.S. and foreign interests. So they made them of none effect. Article 350 reinforces this. The people of Venezuela, true to their republican tradition and their struggle for independence, peace, and freedom, shall disown any regime, legislation, or authority that violates democratic values, principles, and guarantees or encroaches upon human rights. When someone stands up and swears themselves in as dictator for life, interim president, the people of Venezuela have the right to say, no. Yeah, sorry, we're not going to recognize that. We're going to create the Constituent Assembly to reset, to take advantage of that partitioned hard drive, so to speak, so that we can start again new. And that's what this is. That's what's going on in Venezuela right now that the U.S. doesn't want you to know about. It's not something that exists in our Constitution. But I'd like to go over some other points in their Constitution that I think might surprise you. Now remember, Chavez created this Constitution and everybody thinks he's evil and terrible and horrible. Let me show you some of the things that he put in. First thing, Article 5. Article 5. Sovereignty resides untransferable in the people. Meaning the people and organizations of public power are the ultimate authority in Venezuela, regardless of anything else. Articles 12 and 13. I wish we had this here. Mineral and hydrocarbon deposits of any nature that exist within the territory of the nation, beneath the seabed, exclusive economic zone, are the property of the Republic, are of public domain, and therefore inalienable and not transferable. The territory shall never be assigned, transferred, leased, or in any manner whatsoever conveyed, even temporarily or partially, to foreign states or other international law subjects. I'm sorry, ConocoPhillips. I'm sorry, Texaco. You should have read their Constitution before you entered into contracts, thinking you could take advantage of these people. We will continue. Article 43. This will surprise a lot of Americans. The right to life is inviolable. Now that's in our Constitution, but we still kill people. No law shall provide for the death penalty, and no authority shall apply the same. And this is also read in Venezuela to mean no abortion. The state shall protect the life of persons who are deprived of liberty serving in the armed forces or civilian service, or otherwise subject to its authority, meaning there's special provision for soldiers abroad, if they ever would have that. If they would ever have soldiers serving, there's special constitutional provision to protect them and their family and their interests at home, meaning no predatory lenders. Any person shall be presumed innocent until proven otherwise. I guess unless you're Nicolas Maduro in the case of random guy named Juan. But it gets better. Article 58, communications are free and plural and involve the duties and responsibilities indicated by law. Everyone has the right to timely, truthful, and impartial information without censorship. I think my audience can probably extrapolate for that how that would be a problem here in the United States. But Article 59, it gets better. Father and mother are entitled to have their sons and daughters receive religious education in accordance with their convictions. Constitutional principle under Hugo Chavez. Every person is entitled to protection of his or her honor, private life, intimacy, self-image, confidentiality, and reputation, meaning no paparazzi. The use of electronic information shall be restricted by law in order to guarantee the personal and family intimacy and honor of citizens and the full exercise of their rights, meaning no revenge porn, no all this garbage that we see online. And this was put forth by Hugo Chavez in '99. Talk about prescient. Suffrage is a right. It shall be exercised through free, universal, direct, and secret elections. The law shall guarantee the principle of personalization of suffrage and proportional representation. Goodbye, random guy named Juan. You just violated Article 63 of the Constitution. Article 70 reaffirms that. Article 71 as well. Article 75, here's where a lot of people in the United States would be stunned. The state guarantees protection to the mother, father, or other person acting as head of household. Children and adolescents have the right to live, be raised, and develop in the bosom of their original family. When this is impossible or contrary to their best interests, they shall have the right to a substitute family in accordance with law. Adoption has effects similar to those of parenthood, and is established in all cases for the benefit of the adoptee. In accordance with law, international adoption shall be subordinated to domestic adoption. Motherhood and fatherhood are fully protected, whatever the marital status of the mother and father. Couples have the right to decide freely and responsibly how many children they wish to conceive, and are entitled to access to the information and means necessary to guarantee the exercise of this right. The state guarantees overall assistance and protection for motherhood in general from the moment of conception, throughout pregnancy, delivery, and the puerperal period, and guarantees full family planning. The father and mother have the shared and inescapable obligation of raising, training, educating, maintaining, and caring for their children, and the latter have the duty to provide care where the former are unable to do so by themselves. The necessary and proper measures to guarantee the enforceability of the obligation to provide alimony shall be established by law. This is Constitution in defense of the family, far beyond any right-wing, North American right-wing proposals here. Marriage, which is based on free consent between a man and a woman, and absolute equality of rights, is protected. A stable de facto union between a man and a woman, which meets the requirements established by law, shall have the same effect as marriage. We have that here. It's I'm trying to think of the name of it right now. It's where two people live together for a long enough time. They are a marriage in law. But the point being, this is what you call evil? If you're really on the side of the random guy named Juan, you stand against this. You stand against these concepts of a man and a woman. You stand against the concepts of life beginning at conception. You stand against the concept of protecting the nuclear family. So just understand, when you side with a random guy named Juan, this is what you side against. Because this is the construct of Hugo Chavez. And if he were alive today, who do you think he would be siding with? It's just that simple. And you can make decision for yourself. Last few things that we will leave with. Article 79. Young people have the right and duty to be active participants in the development process. The state shall guarantee senior citizens the full exercise of their rights and guarantees, and if they want to work, they have a right to work, and their children are obligated to take care of them if they can't. Articles 79, 80, 81, and 82 cover all of this. I won't read them verbatim. I will give you the link and you can read them for yourself. Health being a fundamental right, not a for-profit institution. All persons, including housewives, are entitled to Social Security. They recognize the work in the home of the woman as important as any other work done in society. All persons have the right and duty to work. Employers shall guarantee adequate safety, hygienic, and environmental conditions. Work is a social fact, and labor rights are unrenounceable regardless of what the business says the rules are. No employer shall have the right to require employees to work overtime. Imagine that. Oh, the evil of Chavez. Oh, what a terrible guy he was. Every worker has the right to a salary sufficient to enable him or her to live with dignity and cover basic material, social, and intellectual needs for himself or herself and his or her family. The payment is guaranteed and not subject to garnishment. Did you know that? Salaries are not subject to garnishment in Venezuela. And if any business decides they want to dismiss you, they have to guarantee that you're taken care of if they do. Stable employment shall be guaranteed by law with provisions as appropriate to restrict any form of unjustified dismissal. Dismissals contrary to this Constitution are null and void. So everything I just read for you, this man stands against. He is against the family. He is against Hugo Chavez, Nicolas Maduro, and the belief system they have in place. So make your decision, but make it in an informed way. Like, share, subscribe.